Perhaps the most frequently asked questions I receive is when high school seniors receive their decision, don't gain admission to UT, and they ask, is enrolling at Austin Community College going to help their transfer admissions chances? And I answer directly, no. Taking classes at ACC does not improve or have any influence on your UT Austin transfer admissions chances. To reiterate, attending, enrolling at, taking classes online from, or receiving your associate's degree from Austin Community College is completely irrelevant for your UT transfer chances. In fact, enrolling at ACC might even harm your transfer prospects, which I'll discuss later in this video. So let me say this again. No, you should not move to ACC from another city. No, if you're at Lone Star or HCC or Collin College, you should not move out of county to ACC. If you're a parent, no, you should probably not send your child away to ACC when your local community college is more than adequate. Paying out of county tuition for Texas residents is almost 4 times the cost. And you would also need to pay for housing since living at home isn't an option. Out-of-state and international students must pay 5 times the tuition cost relative to in-county students who are in Central Texas. In addition to, does ACC improve my chances being one of the most frequently received FAQs, it's also the most stubborn myth and misconception of any UT admissions policy. So I want to dispel the ACC transfer myth in this video. Firstly, if you're prepared to move away from home, why would you not enroll at a 4-year university? Enrolling at ACC out of county costs as much as a 4-year degree at most Texas public universities, because out-of-district ACC students living in an apartment cost around $26,500 each year, which is similar to the public universities with tuition and housing. ACC is a perfectly fine place to begin your studies if you're from the Austin area. But frankly, it's insane and irresponsible that families spend this much money for their child to enroll at a community college that is a tenth of the price than if they remained at home and didn't have to pay for housing. A current community college student recently emailed me, and I'm thankful that they did because my response hopefully saves them some time and money. It isn't their fault for suspecting that there is some connection between ACC and UT because it's a common piece of advice that's peddled on College Confidential or social media. This student wrote to me, I am currently enrolled at a community college 2.5 hours away from Austin. My question is, are there any major advantages to transferring from ACC to UT that I wouldn't get from any other community college, such as the one that I'm at now? They followed up, does UT tend to prefer ACC students over other transfers? And would attending ACC give me an upper hand in the external transfer admissions process? And unsurprisingly, the answer to each of these questions is a categorical, unequivocal no. The ACC helps transfer to UT Austin is incredibly costly, and it isn't an innocent or neutral belief. One reason I believe that this myth persists is families may see transfer statistics that show many UT students begin their studies at ACC, and then they mistakenly correlate ACC attendance as causing better UT chances. But ACC does not cause higher chances to get into UT. Instead, a higher proportion of students enroll at ACC from UT because, unsurprisingly, it's the most popular option for ACC students. Collin College or Tarrant County College students presumably also send a lot of students to UT, but those students may also be more inclined to go to their local universities like North Texas, Houston, SMU, and so on. Co-enrollment programs like UT's PACE are offered only to a handful of students, but PACE, the existence of it, further reinforces the myth that ACC somehow helps one's transfer chances. A&M Engineering, by contrast, does have some guaranteed pathways for programs at community colleges, but this isn't specific to ACC or any single campus. Some admissions myths have a nugget of truth, like applying earlier might increase your chances, but largely doesn't make any difference when you apply. However, there's absolutely zero logical thinking about how ACC improves your UT chances. It just doesn't make any sense. Not only does UT not care about where you attend a community college, or even if you receive an associate's degree, they also don't care or consider whether you're at a 4-year university or a 2-year college. Academically, they're solely concerned with your college GPA. And it might sound weird not to bake into the equation and account for the perceived rigor of differences between a place like MIT versus Texas A&M, but like how would such a weighting system even work? Although giving different weights to different caliber programs might make intuitive sense, there isn't a way to fairly or equitably do this. Like how many bonus points would an MIT student receive over someone at Texas A&M? It's like an impossible logistical problem to solve, and it's like fundamentally not a fair one. Simply put, UT wants to see how you've taken advantage of or maximized the resources in your environment. It's nothing more than that. The admissions can be very confusing, but this thing is one part of it is simple and clear that you need not overthink. It's just your college GPA. So 2.2 GPA from MIT isn't going to get into UT Austin or probably not even Texas A&M under any circumstances. So why would UT want an MIT dropout over a stellar community college student? One reason that universities admit students with high GPAs is it suggests a higher probability of them completing their degree on time. So ask yourself, why would UT have this secret, unwritten policy that privileges students from Central Texas? How would they even assign bonus points for attending ACC? And why would it be fair to give ACC students a leg up at the expense of students at any other Texas community college who are unlikely to have the finances or the privilege or luxury to move away from home for a 2-year degree? If UT did give advantage to ACC students, then there should be a media, a political, or a public uproar over such unfair practices. It's simply a coincidence that the flagship university is located in the state capital, Austin. And not all public flagships are located in the capital or even their state's biggest city. Like take the University of Michigan, which is in Ann Arbor, or Virginia in Charlottesville, or the University of North Carolina in Chapel Hill. So would it make sense for the University of Michigan to give preference to Ann Arbor's Washtenaw Community College students at the expense of community college students from Detroit? No, that wouldn't make any sense, short of some established guaranteed pathway programs that those universities might have. Moreover, all Texas community college students have the same credit transfer system, so the ACC education is in theory equivalent to all of those offered all across the state of Texas. So UT's transfer resources page does indeed have ACC transfer guides, but they also provide guides for every other community college system in the state. So if you take a step back and think for just like a few seconds how ridiculous an ACC secret bonus is, you'll realize the myth has no basis in reality. It just honestly doesn't make any damn sense that hundreds of families fall for it every single year. So, in case it isn't clear why and how ACC cannot help your chances, let me unpack the harms of the ACC myth a little bit further. There are a lot of bad reasons why students decide to enroll at ACC, or persuade their students that it's a good idea. The student claims they want the Austin experience, which, like, honestly is always a code word for partying or like hanging on to the coattails of sororities and fraternities. And ask yourself, parents, if your child isn't ready for a 4-year university, why would they be mature enough to live away from home to attend a community college? There's absolutely no reason to move away from home to attend ACC. And there are practically, precisely, 0 instances in my decade career as an independent college consultant that persuaded me that it was in the student's best interest to enroll at ACC away from home solely because they think it will improve their admissions chances. Now, there might be other reasons to move to a new city, like, okay, you've got a job, or you're pursuing a music or film career, or you're leaving an abusive home, maybe you're escaping a natural disaster, and Austin might be like sincerely the best option for you to settle and relocate to that new city. But this is totally separate from anything related to some ACC advantage. Like, my cynical view is almost in all cases, students that want to move to Austin because it's an awesome city, but they also mistakenly believe it will help their chances. More times than not, they want to party. And like, that's okay. It just means that you're moving and persuading your parents on false pretenses that ACC is the best option for transferring to UT. Even during COVID, there were students enrolling at ACC online classes because they thought it would help their chances. So they paid like 4 to 5 times the cost for identical credits that they could have received at their in-county local community college. Like, wealthy families will try everything in their power to gain even the slightest real or perceived advantage, even if it makes absolutely no sense. So it's like you're paying the equivalent of a 4-year degree for a community college. So, one of the last things I'll say, and this is directly to you parents, I'll be super honest. If you let your child persuade you to rent them an apartment in Austin, hours away from your hometown, I'll just come right out and say it, like, you're pretty foolish. And it's fine if you want your child to be more independent, but don't convince yourself of the illusion that you have their academic interest in mind. They're not moving to Austin to like prioritize their grades and studying, okay? Because enrolling at ACC necessarily puts academic priorities second, which jeopardizes eventual transfer options. The biggest mistake potential transfers make is not doing everything in their power to earn straight A's. So, enrolling at ACC is more likely to harm rather than help a student's eventual transfer because it distracts from that goal of making A's. Enrolling at ACC out of county has almost no upsides and almost only potential downsides. If living at home is an option, research suggests that recent high school graduates beginning their studies at a local college earn substantially better grades than their independently living counterparts. And the logic is very simple. Living away from home for the first time, paying bills, making meals, doing your laundry, meeting new people, and navigating a new city puts pressure on and takes away time from studying. ACC doesn't have the upside of a 4-year university's robust mental health services network, residence hall meal plans, student organizations, and campus life. There are many opportunities to make poor decisions regarding drugs, alcohol, and bungled time management. This is a true story. I once had a client who enrolled at ACC away from their hometown, and they joined a fraternity for the college and the UT experience. But unfortunately, they experienced substantial hazing, and it was so severe that it actually put them in a hospital and it completely derailed their final exams. This was like towards the end of November. Their grades tanked, and they were denied UT Austin transfer admission, and they needed to move away from Austin and return home to attend a 4-year university because those college grades are permanent. So, it's undeniable and understandable that if you want to enroll at ACC and live in a West Campus private dorm or an apartment, like you're going to be a UT wannabe, even if you don't realize it or you refuse to admit it. I understand the FOMO of your friends moving away from home and people having the college experience, but do you really want to be on the low end of the social life totem pole? You may get lucky and find friends or roommates who support your UT ambitions, but there's no escaping the fact that you will be an outsider to some degree. Socially, it just seems like an awkward situation to intentionally place yourself. Enrolling at ACCs from out of county is also, like, honestly the height of privilege for a student's parents willing to pay potentially 10 times the amount after you include living and moving expenses, relative to just going to one of your local options. To conclude, in case it wasn't clear, enrolling at ACC will not improve your UT Austin admissions chances. I hope you enjoyed this video. Email me with any questions about transferring from a community college to UT Austin at kevin@texadmissions.com. And you can also complete the questionnaire in the information section of this video for a free email admissions consultation about your UT transfer chances. Thanks, and I hope you have a great day.